the theme that I had announced for tonight was something that's on our mind because we're entering into a winter retreat period for our community when all of us will be on a quieter framework with more time for the formal cushion practice, the formal sitting and walking meditation practice. And being aware that there's so much gratitude to have this opportunity of being both supported to have the basic requisites of life available so that one is able to focus without paying too much attention to having to build a kuti or having to wander for face pindapat without knowing whether or not any food would be offered on a particular day. But instead, there's some confidence that we have what's called a gochara, a suitable gochara for practice. That means a suitable, a gochara is a pasture, it's where the cows go to. And so we have the gochara for practice in terms of the support of the wider community, and hopefully also our own mind is a good pasture, a place for practice, and our own community is a good place for practice. Others may or may not have enough time for retreats as long as several months, as long as several weeks, even as long as several days. I can well remember in the when I was first introduced to the Dhamma, what a tremendous impact I experienced even from having a chance to take a day-long meditation retreat, being in formal meditation together with a group, where the inclination of the mind to go into distraction was somewhat blocked off by being in the presence of others with that formal commitment to practice. And then how much more gain there was in having a chance for a weekend retreat or a 10-day retreat, and how much really amazing opportunities for transformation there are if there's a chance to take a 3-month retreat or something even longer than that. So with all of that gratitude, we would rather not waste our time. So as much as possible to be prepared so that whether it's 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, or 3 months or 1 year, whatever amount of time is given to us, that we might not waste it. I think I'm going to, usually we do the meditation first, but because of the topic here, I'm going to go on for another 10 minutes with a few more things that came to mind for me about preparing for meditation. And then after preparing for meditation, we can do some meditation together and then have time at the end for questions and conversations. Of course, we know that in the gradual training that the Eightfold Path, which has been discussed in this group for so long, is culminating in Samma Samadhi, our right absorption, right meditation. And so we can know that if there are certain mistaken views, mistaken concepts that can put a tremendous barrier to being successful in practice. Just to give an example, if I believe that it's impossible for me to be successful in meditation, that wrong view, that lack of confidence in the effectiveness of this gradual training is by itself a big barrier to success. So one part is establishing right view, seeing causation, having a glimpse of not being locked into thinking that a person has her essential, unchangeable, permanent character, but instead seeing the possibilities for change and transformation and the effectiveness of the path, the effectiveness of the teaching on that path. Those are some of the aspects of right view that opens the way for being ready for meditation. And then seeing how the unskillful and harmful things that people can do, especially when they're under the influence of afflictive emotional reactions. Probably most of what you could describe under the range of sila or right ethics would be where a person is carried away by those kinds of reactions and not recognizing their own power, not recognizing that we have the ability to choose whatever emotion comes along, whether it be having a crush on somebody or wanting something or being fearful of something or being having a grudge, any kind of emotion like that. We can examine that and see whether this is a good medicine, which is helping our happiness, or seeing whether this is actually something like a poison, which is destroying our own happiness, and finding out that we can choose to let go of whatever is toxic in our life. And then having made that kind of choice, we can gradually find out how. Of course, that can take a bit of time and a lot of study to find out how to thoroughly let go. And then even within the part of the Noble Eightfold Path that's commonly described under the rubric of samadhi, or the bhavana, the cultivation part, the meditation part of the Noble Eightfold Path, includes right effort, right mindfulness, and right samadhi, or right absorption, right, sometimes called right concentration. In particular, the right effort aspect of the path is where there's the beginning of the meditation process of being able to look within, to being able to be aware of one's own states of mind, and recognizing that agency, that power that I told about. So just how I could choose not to pick up a drink or not to um, use a curse word or not to hit somebody or hurt somebody. Just in the same way, I can choose about the things that I'm thinking about, the thoughts and attitudes that I'm holding within my mind. And if I discover within my own mind those thoughts that are miserable, I can undertake to prevent those kinds of thoughts from arising. So if I get crabby when I drink too much coffee or don't get enough sleep, or if I have not done all of my chores, that tends to make me get crabby because I feel guilty, and I'm feeling guilty and sleepless and caffeinated altogether combines to, make that crabby mind come up. So that would be an example, if it were true, that then one can just simply reflect and say, well, let us put some boundaries and get enough rest. Be aware of what things you're drinking, and be aware of having the kind of like balanced life that's avoiding an outbreak of something being temperamental, on edge, or emotional. That's just one simple example. So that preventing when something has arisen, finding out how to let go of it. Those who know me well know that I spent several years working on my personal method for letting go of settled negativities, basically developing a system in connection to the 5 khandhas of finding out if I could let go of any aspect of a negative state, that was my opening, and then to gradually being able to emerge from a negative state of mind, discovering that wholesome states of mind, actually, it's not just like purely accidental, that, every once in a while, a sensation of kindness comes along, just because of impermanence. It could happen, like even Hitler probably felt every once in a while he had a kindly thought, just because of impermanence. These kind thoughts come to everyone. And so then, but to make that realization, we have the power, we have the authority, we can choose. And to begin this process of learning how to have the agency, the power over the choices we make, what to do with our mind. And then with the practice of samasati, then learning even more carefully, more deeply, and the more and more subtle ways to be fully aware, fully cognizant of the inner workings of the mind and body. And from that, the samadhi can arise. I want to read a list of attitudes that are supportive for meditation. And this is from Mindfulness in Plain English by Bhante Ganarasa. He speaks of these as being within meditation, but I also feel these attitudes are what, if one, during all of the minutes and hours that one is off the cushion, if one can consciously try to sustain these attitudes as consistently as possible while outside of the formal practice, that then it's creating an ambience that then when sitting down for formal meditation practice, the practice could be as fruitful as possible. He mentions, don't expect anything. Just see what happens. The whole thing is an experiment. Take an interest in what's happening. Let the meditation move along at its own speed. But also in life, not to expect anything. There's so many things that turn out differently. Whatever we expect, it's definitely going to turn out differently. So if we can learn to let go of those expectations, let go of the frustration when it's different. Don't strain, don't force, don't make grand, exaggerated efforts. Don't hurry, take your time. Don't cling to anything, and don't reject anything. Whatever comes along, accommodate yourself to that, and just work with whatever is arising. Let go. Learn to flow along with the changes that are happening without trying to stop time, without trying to stop the flow of impermanence by holding on to anything. And at the same time, accept everything that arises. That's the other side. That's the practice of patience, this patient acceptance. Everything that arises is the perfect manifestation of all of the preceding causes and conditions. So because of the totality of everything that happened before, we happen to arrive at this particular moment, which includes our culture, our place, our situation, our personal biography, and even our aspirations. All of that is conditioned. And so then whatever arises from that, we need to have that open, receptive, forgiving attitude to accept that reality, to accept reality. Then be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Investigate yourself, question everything, take nothing for granted. And view all problems as challenges. So failures help us succeed. So whenever we feel disappointed, say, okay, this is an opportunity. For myself, I translate this into my particular take on dukkha. When I feel psychological pain, my theory is that that's because I'm clinging to something. And so every experience of psychological pain is the opportunity right in that moment. It's the perfect moment to investigate and to find out it's probably something that I'm clinging to without being fully aware. Because if I were fully aware, I wouldn't be clinging. And then the next one is don't ponder, not to be ruminating, and that it's a characteristic of humans that we're able to do thought experiments and to imagine what might be coming up over the horizon, and to enact in our mind with our imagination how we're going to respond to the next thing that's coming along. So if I had the idea of making peanut butter pickle ice cream, I don't have to actually make it and taste it to come to a conclusion. I can just imagine what that would taste like. And then I could make a decision whether I want to try that particular recipe. Likewise, there's a way in which this is a natural characteristic of social animals. In society, there's a certain tendency for deception. So if I'm doing a trade with another monkey or with another animal or with another human, the thing that I'm offering, I wanted to make it look as nice as possible so that I can get a good return. And then the other person may naturally be skeptical or investigating to see if this is really what it seems to be or if it's a trick. And so this a characteristic, I guess, in animal behavior or human behavior, you can see so many different examples of strategies of deception, which leads to negativity and conflict. And so this pondering and ruminating, I think, is part of that whole pattern. And it's a trap of getting into the conceptual mind. When we're pondering and ruminating, we're taking something that was an actual experience and making it into a set of slogans or a set of marks. So the mark that I have for ruminating is that so-and-so always does that to me. And so when there's somebody in my inside that, like a little person inside my heart that gets on a teeny tiny soapbox and starts giving a teeny tiny speech, saying that so-and-so always does that to me, that's what rumination is. And it's not reality. Reality is always other than the concept that we hold. So the more we ruminate, the more we get trapped in conceptual thinking, and the more we're not able to break out of it. And this is, gets to be super important as you go deeper into the Dhamma, that breaking through conceptual thinking is a huge part of what we hope is going to be able to happen in meditation. So ruminating is the opposite energy to that. And then the last suggestion on this list is not to dwell on contrasts. So if I think this is the measuring mind, the mind which is thinking of being better, worse, or equal. So if I think that I'm smarter than someone else, that leads to all kind of unwholesome patterns. If I think I'm stupider than someone else, it leads to all kinds of unwholesome patterns. That comparing mind is an enemy to meditation. And obviously, if these kind of thoughts come up within the meditation, then we've got a problem to be able to get out of going around in that rut during the meditation hour. But if we find out before the meditation starts, during the daily life, how to recognize these patterns and dispel them, to be relaxed, present, open, receptive to what's arising in the present moment, with an attitude of kindness, then holding that throughout the day, then is creating the ground for a possibility of successful period of meditation. So having said so much, we can sit down and have some meditation. I would like to invite this next 15 minutes for comments or questions. Questions one may have about meditation practice, or your comment about what you find the most helpful in preparing for meditation, to make meditation as fruitful as possible.
Preparing for meditation. I think what you were saying about during the day, your attitude throughout the day, is very important. And I started doing these reflections. If I start to see my mind going off in some way or another, sometimes you can repeat some of the words of the suttas to help get back on track. I have some reflections memorized. That unwholesome states arising. Okay. And yeah, I think just the attitudes of the Brahma Viharas are extremely helpful. Just to always trying to bring up thoughts of loving kindness and compassion and altruistic joy and equanimity. So this is throughout the day, and mindfulness.
Thank you. Do you have a comment to add?
I think I thank you for this beautiful talk and topic. I think the thing that may be most helpful is I think about death a lot. You know, I think about how in any moment, if the mind is caught in a sort of an unskillful state, I could actually die. And I don't want that state of mind during the death process. So it helps to dispel it, get rid of it.
Thank you. Comments or questions from anyone?
Maybe Kate?
I'm going to wait for the people in the room. Usually when we offer the guided meditations, we've had a tendency to do the body scanning. And then if the breath meditation, even to include a more expansive experience of the breath throughout the entire body, focusing just on the sensation at the rim of the nostril was the original meditation training that I received, and it is a good kind of a reminder for me about how much flexibility that even with such a specific confined meditation subject or meditation procedure, anything can happen. There's an endless number of possibilities of what can arise or be experienced, even with having the meditation constrained like that. And it may be that, especially in modern times, since we live in such a distractible age, that it's good to develop a more of a concentration method like that, and in order to overcome distraction. Okay, Sheila.
Good evening, Ayya. Good evening, everyone. Recently, I have found the death meditation, the guided meditation that you did back in, I guess it was November or December at the Marin Sangha. I have found that so helpful and comforting that since the death of my nephew, I've been doing that at least once, if not twice a day. And it's really been beneficial. And I noticed this evening in the guided meditation, as much as we were asked to let other thoughts go away, I found myself with a very busy and restless mind. And it occurred to me for the first time to have some compassion for myself. And when I thought of metta and karuna, I began with breathing in metta and breathing out karuna. And then it occurred to me to just breathe in and breathe out in sequence the Brahma Viharas. And that within a few moments made a big difference. So that was my experience this evening. Thank you. And I will remember to not judge myself when my mind is kind of all over the place, and perhaps remember to incorporate the Brahma Viharas. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful comment, Sheila. In particular, many people may find, or at different times, one may find that just a simple bare breath meditation is a challenging procedure to follow because the mind wants a little bit more meat to be able to keep engaged and without the arising of unwanted or distracting thoughts. And so doing a meditation procedure on a theme like the Brahma Viharas is a form of concentration. It is a form of meditation. So definitely it's not outside the realm of possibility. And this is probably very much related to the practice that you have developed as your strength, that you have the Brahma Vihara practice as kind of a go-to method that makes it easy and natural to go there and to be able to connect and stay, to stabilize the meditation practice around that theme. So that's all very good. I would just encourage that it's also completely okay when the distracting thoughts come in to be able to see them just as they are. And to, I really like the phrase, what it's like. This is something that I haven't encountered too much in Dhamma teachers, but modern philosophers, when I talk about what consciousness is, like the consciousness of blue is like what it's like to see something blue. It's just what it's like. This is your personal experience with that kind of phenomenon, what it's like. That's the awareness that is preconceptual, that just belongs to you. So when the mind wanders, then just having this question, okay, what's it like right now? Or, what's happening right now is also can be tremendously fruitful. Or even to notice in the example that you gave, Sheila, what it's like to be on the breath, what it's like when the mind wanders, and what it's like to pick up the Brahmavihara theme, and what's the subtle shift of the state of mind going through those different experiences. All of that is top-notch, super useful information for developing wisdom. Richard.
Thank you, Ayya. One thing I find helpful when I'm meditating is usually I start out following the breath, and if I find my mind begins to tend towards torpor, I will start contemplating the 12-fold chain of dependent origination, and noticing how, from ignorance, sankharas arise, etc. And I'll really begin to focus on it, and that will really kind of break me out of that torpor and make me very focused and concentrated by contemplating each of the levels and how they interact with each other, independent arising, etc., like that. So it's just a technique I've kind of developed on my own, and I just find it very helpful. And then that will focus and concentrate my mind so I can go back to, intensifying. I don't know exactly how to describe it. I would call it like things kind of become crystal clear, and so there's like a present awareness that kind of arises, So anyways, I just find that technique helpful. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Really what this is bringing to my mind is a kind of the mind, there's the advice was given in the list of attitudes about not trying to not be conceptualizing. The danger of conceptualizing, or the thought of going beyond concepts. And yet we have two examples of meditators who usefully bring in, three examples of meditators who usefully bring in some Dhamma teaching, which is, could say a concept, but it doesn't need to be taken as like something that replaces the actuality of mindfulness, but instead the concept is like kind of a frame, like with this idea, then it's like what it's like when this idea is present is an actuality. And still, one has avoided the danger of having the mind randomly wander along from one thought to another thought to another thought in a stream of consciousness that's just being sort of a actually probably led along by desire and aversion and ignorance, because it's just meandering, but instead it's still keeping a framework of the practice, which is very useful. And this is a way I think we should not be. I think if somebody's got a misunderstanding about this idea of non-conceptual awareness, that could you could sort of defeat yourself by going into confusion, saying, "Oh, is that a concept? Oh, is it a concept or isn't it a concept?" And then you could start conceptualizing about concepts. But instead, just consider these Dhamma thoughts that we can use to uphold the practice as being a set of frames. And so with these frames, we can see with mindfulness what it's like.
So, there's definitely a place in, it's even within the suttas to do this kind of reflecting on the teachings.
Yes.
And at a certain point, the mind is really eager, like sounds like Richard's mind was eager just really to dive into the dependent origination. So it's not like thoughts are evil or something like that. But eventually that all the conceptualization will drop away, but it's not. So it's like you were saying, a framework to work with. And the Buddha laid out these teachings like that so that we would dive into them and look at them and consider them and memorize them. And this is part of the practice. This is why we memorize dependent origination, because then we're like, oh yeah, this is actually how it fits together, So that's really wonderful that, like it may just arise, or just like Varanasati arises for a reason, that the Buddha says, reflect on this all the time.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Thank you, Richard.
So showing up for the teaching is part of the preparation for meditation. Of course, in the ancient times, you would show up and listen. And modern times, you can show up and read, or you can show up and listen or read. And then you've got, to the extent that you have cultivated the perception of dependent arising, or you've cultivated a perception of that death awareness, or cultivated a perception of anicca, then it becomes deeply integrated, and then that phenomena can be experienced at a more intuitive level within our meditation practice, as well as within the day. Yeah. Well, I appreciate. Oh, Ramanti, please go ahead.
Thank you, Ayya. So during the meditation, when the mind started to wander away from the breath, what came to my mind was the thoughts that you read from the book. So that helped me to bring the mind back to the breath without criticizing, judging for wandering away from the mind. So I always find whatever preceded the meditation session, whatever the ideas that I pick up has an effect in my meditation. So I found the ideas that you read in the book helpful in this meditation session. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I've often felt that people might, during the meditation time, fall into either wandering or else even worrying about their problems, because throughout the day, they keep themselves in such a state of distraction that they don't have a minute to worry about their problems. And it is not necessarily a bad thing, not on the meditation cushion, like at a different time, a different place, like, sit at the kitchen table or, sit at a different location from where you do meditation without typing or making a list or reading anything, just to ponder, like what's important. How did my day go today? What problems did I encounter today? And what was successful today? What was a failure today? Or did I make a wrong turn today? Did I make a right turn today? And just actually having time to think is really valuable. And maybe in the olden days it was more natural, because while you were plowing the field or while you were walking or grinding the flour or something like that, you did have time to think. But in that type of work we do now, with this very verbalized, we don't have enough time to think unless we give ourselves that time. Just the same way, there's a certain different kind of energy to, like, besides hearing the Dhamma, to think about the Dhamma. And that also is very good to do good preparation, but you wouldn't go and use your meditation hour just to say, I'm going to sit down and think about the Dhamma. That wouldn't be quite the purpose. You already have cultivated your Dhamma wisdom to a point where that you can bring it up and use it within the meditation. So I think we've used our time now. It's been lovely and fruitful, and I'm so appreciative to be with you tonight. We can stop now and pay respects to the triple chant.
Dhamma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivadin Suvakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namassami Suvatimundo Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami.
Thank you, everyone, for your practice and for your patient listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ayya. And thank you all the people. I didn't say anything today, but I did appreciate, what is it, Kalyana Mitta? Good friends in the Sangha, yes.